This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I want to thank all of you who listen to the shiurim. There's a lot to be learned. We're the real focus of all that we're doing is really contained in the Zohar. Because even though it's harder for people to learn because it's written, first of all, it's Hebrew letters and it's written in Aramaic. It's not even in Hebrew. But it so comes to the fundamental root of all sod that we really need to be seeing it, listen to its lancers, and hopefully connect with as many people as possible. Because this is real Torah, really, really the deepest part of the Torah. This is Sod, and it's Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai. So this is the first day of the week. The day is Chesed. It's Chesed Kol Hayom. So let's see. We're at nighttime now, so it's the erev of this Chesed, and it will develop. So we're going to go over here in Sefer Zohar here in Parshas Beshalch. Now, for a little bit, I'm going to just read the Zohar as best I can, and I apologize ahead of time because I'm not the world's greatest reader or translator, but I am interested. I do care, and so I'm trying. Let me see if I can get this focus good. So it says, "V'hi b'l'shalach paro v'sa'am v'lo nachem elokem derech eretz Pelishtim." Hashem didn't lead them directly across to the land of the Philistines, which would be the fastest way to get to Eretz Yisrael. Rebbe Shimon Pazo. Now, in regards to this, Rebbe Shimon starts to say this. Now, as we're learning this, and we're going to learn as much as we can in the week with God's blessing, try to see what it has to do with Parshas Beshalach. Because I think that you have to get into it much longer to be able to see that, because we have little stories, and we're about to start a story now. So Rebbe Shimon began, and he said like this: "Tefillah the Habakkuk Hanavi." So there was a prophet by the name of Habakkuk al Shigionos, on the mistakes. High crawl kasha v'istakla. Now, there are problems with this particular pasuk of what it means. Ma'ishna tefillah the Habakkuk Hanavi. Why do we say that we have a special tillim, a special psalm, that is dedicated to Habakkuk Hanachi, Yatim Mikol Shar Nevi Alma, more than any other prophets? The Lokasiv Tefillah the Yeshaya Hanavi, that we don't have that. Or the Yirmiyah, we don't have the Jeremiah. Or the Cheskel, or the Ezekiel, or the Hosea, or the Shar Nevi Alma, we don't have psalms dedicated to them. So what's the big deal about this idea of Habakkuk? So he said, but this is really what we learned. Elisha was a Navi. Zacha b'chai alma mal the low Zacha Neviah Akra bar Mimosha, that he earned in this world a greater stature than any other prophet, with the exception of Moshe Rabbeinu. He says like this: Tol Chazi, come and see. Mandech said, what is the meaning of this pasuk that says like this? Vayihi hayom v'ya'avur Elisha el Shunam. And the day came, and the Elisha went to Shunam. V'sham isha gedayla, and there was a great woman. My isha gedayla. What do you mean that she was a great woman? Ella gedayla uvadoho. She was great in the service that she rendered to Hashem. The kol b'nei beisa mishtat b'chim ba, that all of the people of her house had tremendous admiration for her. Vehi ikar, the base, and she was really the root, the basis of the house, because her husband wasn't around. So their husband wasn't there to become the ikar of the house. So therefore, that's right, to be the root of the house. Therefore, she was. Lo chava adkar hu elahi. So we don't really mention him. He's not mentioned. This story is about her. So let's go back. He says, now you have this phrase, there was a great woman. I'll call Shar B'nai Nashei Alma, she was greater than all of the rest of the women in the world. The Harshar Nashei Alma, and he says, in what regard? So he said, because normally, this is a normal thing by women. So when they see that there's a guest in the house, Mr. Aaron Bey Bedachakam Bey, that it becomes a problem for them. It becomes a problem in the house because they like their houses in a certain way, and now comes a stranger, and maybe he's not clean, and maybe he does this, and maybe he does that. She doesn't need that, but and she's really pushing a lot of pressure on him. Kol shechin la'apanka alei mamoinda says certainly that when she gets a man comes into her house or a woman or whatever it would be, the guest would be, and it's certainly not to start giving away money because women are very careful about money. Because here, this one, this Shunamit that we're going to see in a few minutes, she was happy, was exactly the opposite. She was happy to have a guest anytime. And to give out money for to them too. So he said, certainly, if that was her general nature in terms of bringing in guests, certainly when she saw Elisha, who's a tremendous man, she was really exceptionally happy about this. So he said, although, and this Reb Shivcha the Kula he said this woman is really the praise of everybody. The Ushpiz is the base of the Itasa, because really the control or the comes under the jurisdiction of the woman of the house when there is a guest. So this is the reason why the natural tendency of a woman is to protect her house. And so strangers are not really needed to mess up the order of the house and all the other things. But this woman is different. And that's why she's called an Isha Gedoyla Gedoyla al Shar Nasha. So he said to the woman, Hine no yudati Isha Elohim Kadoshu. Let me say it back, that's Elohim, sorry about that. Ki Ish Elohim Kadoshu, that this man is an Ish Elohim and that he's Kadosh. So he said, well, wait a minute. But Magyudah, so she was saying that he was a holy man. How does she know this? But this is what the Shiva has talked about before, and here we're talking about in the Talmud. The Shoshifa, the Chivara, Zurikas Leba Arse, that she had a white sheet that she spread, that was a white sheet that was spread underneath like a bottom sheet. Lo Chamas Bay Keri Ma'olam, and she never saw that the person had a nocturnal admission all the time that he came to her house. Not only that, but there were no flies around the table when he sat down, which is indicating maybe there were. They didn't have air conditioning back then. Now these things are really hard to understand. If you say that he never had a nocturnal admission. There's a lot of people here in this world who also never had a nocturnal admission. So if you say, well, there was never a fly by the table when he was there, then how does she say that I know? He does below Achra. She knew that. I mean, that nobody else saw that. Anybody that ever saw him eating at a table, they saw that. Ella Shapik Amr. So the Zohar says, Rabbi Shimon, I guess, is saying, he says, what you're saying is right. About Hinde no Yadati. He said, now I know. He Yodavalo Achra, she knew, no one else knew. Begin to hear Mesaknas Arze Bishanta the Shkid Belelia, because she's the one that put his bed, that made his bed at night before he lay down. The Bishanta the Kohen B'Tzafra, and by the moment that he got up in the morning, behind the Shushiva Kibara, and what we said that there was this white sheet that she had as a bottom sheet, Zrichas said she spread it over his bed, Hachi Chava, Boyada. So that's how she knew. The Arch of the Alma came in the Kohen Bar Nash Ma'arse Salak Shushifa of the Nohim Bar Rechem Luvolo. So let's go over these words. He said, because the way it is like this, the way of the world is that when a person gets up from his bed, Salak Shushifa the Nohim, so there's a smell that comes out of the bed, which is a Rechem Luvolo, which is a really bad smell. V'hai b'shat the Salkas Haku Shushifa Ma'arse, but this one, at the time that this smell came out from the bed, Havasalik Rechen Korechen, the Ginza the Aiden, it was different because there you had the reich, the scent of the scents and all the different perfumes that come from the Garden of Eden. Amri love the Kadisha who Kedusha de Mariale. If it wasn't because it was Kadosh, and here the Kedusha came from Hashem, Lo Salek Recha Kadisha Hochi, you would never smell something like this. Now let me just do one more. Beginning Kach Boile is Parshas in Besa. For this reason, she wanted him to be separated from the house. The look is Dacher Bar Nosh called Kach Besa because the person doesn't have to be worried about, somebody's going to come in on him, it's not going to be private. So I'm going to make a little small wall in the attic. V'nasim lo, and I will make over there sham mita v'shulcha v'kise menorah. I'm going to put all of that together. Arba ilin lama. So why do we have these four? He says ala begin the inan dukunda the Knesset Yisrael, because these are the things that Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael in Zohar is another word for the Shechina, or Malchus. The Iskarias Aliyas Kir, that it's called by this name, and this may need a little bit of explanation, which we'll get to the next time, which is called an attic, a wall in an attic. V'hachi is Karya, and this is what it's called, Kamatachsiv, V'yasev Hiskiyahu Panov Elakir. So when it said, which we said is the wall, there was a question of Hiskiyahu was praying, and he says Kir is another word for Shechina, and we'll get to that next time. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kola.